Alright, what's up guys? This breakdown explains how a London-based entrepreneur treats software like their real estate properties. He pretty much just builds them fast, grows them to 20K per month, and flips them Grant Cardone style or Graham Stephan style, all for cash deals, probably on acquire.com, Twitter, or Flippa. And since 2022, he's been doing this, repeating this method, and he's made over $500,000 since then. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of founders are obsessed with being the next Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, inventing the next Uber. But if you guys want financial freedom, probably this is a very good method for you guys to replicate, which is almost building an app studio, but flipping the apps one at a time rather than flipping the whole app studio. And this approach is much easier than hoping you get a unicorn and exiting that and getting investors and paying everybody off and walking away with a small percentage. So let's break this down. And if you guys don't know who I am, I've documented my journey on this channel from going from 0 to 10K MRR with my own SaaS, all the way to listing for sale to private equity, all in my 20s. And now I help future founders speed up their progress as well by making these case study videos and helping guys one-to-one if they need help. So let's get into this case study. So the founder today we are breaking down is Lots, is his name. And he comes from a banking background and a failed VC-backed startup. It's so crazy because if he came from a failed startup that wasn't VC-backed, he probably wouldn't even mention that startup. So after trying the Silicon Valley route and ending up broke, he pivoted to a model based on cash flow rather than legacy. So this is his track record. I'm going to break it down. Bible Buddy, which is an AI therapist for Christians. Magic Music, an AI music generator rapper, which is honestly how I got to my first 10K MRR as well. Toxic Traits, which is a personality analysis based on chat screenshots. All of these look like AI rappers. Let's see if the last one is. And Pray Screen, which is an app that blocks your phone until you pray. Hit 60%, day 30 retention. For me personally, I probably wouldn't monetize like biblical. That seems like something that I would feel weird about, but that definitely worked for this guy. But that was actually half of his track record besides the Magic Music and Toxic Traits. The point is he scaled all of these to 1 million users and exited them. So we just broke down who he was. Let's break down his mindset, and his philosophy is pretty simple. You guys got to ask yourself, is this for legacy or is this for cash flow? Normally, a lot of people who take identity in your work you're probably doing it for legacy. But if you don't take identity in your work and perhaps you take identity in things outside your work, then you kind of treat your work as cash flow. I'm in a season of doing things for cash flow. So I'm building an app studio right now, and after I exit that, I'll probably have enough capital to do legacy style businesses. So it really just depends on your season in entrepreneurship. So it's really important to get that down first. Is it a cash flow business or a legacy business? Because the truth is, guys, if it's a cash flow business, your decision making completely changes. You stop over engineering, you stop worrying what the brand will look like and the intangibles, and you don't have to worry about the future realistically in 10 years of what your brand will look like. You pretty much just build to sell for money. And honestly, guys, I see this with a lot of clients that I work with and hop on calls with. They want to build a spaceship when majority of them realistically cannot build a bicycle, which that's how I was when I started. There's literally nothing wrong with that. I mean, when I started, I was building these websites off of bubble.io, which is a website to build other websites. And I was doing weird stuff so I can integrate Stripe into it and take payments. And I didn't even know how to use the platform. I had to screenshot things from the website, paste it into ChatGPT, and then manually do the clicks. But now that I'm proficient in Cursor and a little bit of back end, things are much easier. So I can build a little bit more than a bicycle, but you guys may be stuck in a phase where you probably have to pay down 3 to 6 months of information ignorance debt to even get to baseline in building a SaaS product that people will pay for. So that's where I kind of slide in, where if you aren't technical or if you just want cash, you need to simplify the operations, hand off the technical aspect to someone else so a buyer can take it over as fast as possible. So if you guys need help with that, just book a call in the description. So phase 2 is finding a sellable idea. So when you guys are looking for a business to sell, you don't want to reinvent the next wheel. You want to find market liquidity. 2 years ago, AI apps on acquire.com were selling for huge multipliers. Now they're a bit more handpicked. They're great cash flow businesses, but a couple ways for you guys to find market liquidity and good ideas is just by going to the app store, seeing what's trendy, looking at the top charts, who's number 1, who's number 20, what's the rising apps. I personally go on app.sensortower.com. I have a free account, and I pretty much just look up these apps and see how much they're actually making. If the top apps are making 200K per month, that's where I'll try to replicate the app. And I'll also look for competitors also making in the 30 to 40K range, which is very reasonable because let's just be honest, some apps get lucky. So if there are a lot of competitors and a lot of those competitors are getting a large piece of the pie, you can bet that that is the right idea to recreate and probably sell in the future. Now, there are other ways. You can check Meta Ads library and type in AI app and see what ads people are running and then filter it by ads being ran for at least 6 months. So that's a way to take ideas. If you guys want another idea, you would go on TikTok and Instagram Reels and then engage with AI apps. You'll eventually get recommended ads disguised as organic content for the newest up and coming SaaSes. And you can obviously go back to Sensor Tower, check if it's making revenue, and then decide if you want to replicate that app from there. One last thing without exposing everything that I tell my students is also just checking Twitter. There are people all the time coming up with great app ideas and also showing off their revenue. So again, if you guys are just wanting cash flow or an exit, checking Twitter is a great tool as well, and being in that SaaS circle community. So after you find the idea, verify revenue, you guys need to figure out what your edge is. So ask yourself, how can you niche down? For this guy, he was aware that a lot of people touch Christian apps. So he did find a gap to make money off of Christian apps, which was being there first, because a lot of people just don't want to touch those apps and make money off of them. So in a way, that is a gap. And that's what this game is all about. It's just finding gaps. And like I always say, there are so many niche verticals with AI being out that you guys can take advantage of. With me, it was a music niche. When AI came out, it helped artists write music. That's how I got to my first 10K MRR. So you guys can find a lot of stuff like that. I even got to my first $1,000 MRR by advertising a AI hairline checker on Reddit. And this thing wasn't even an iOS app. It was a website that people had to log in on their phones. So much opportunity. That was 2 years ago. So perhaps it's a bit saturated now. So phase number 3 is the product build, guys. The biggest mistake new founders make is building social apps and trying to paywall it, or just building social apps in the beginning. Number one, you can't even paywall social apps. They have to have a high K factor, which in other words just means high word of mouth. And if you're paywalling anything, the word of mouth will decrease. So that's mistake number one a lot of founders make. The rule for you guys is make the app single player, single utility, and the user must get 100% of the value right after that hard paywall. So with that being said, let's break down the Trojan horse virality strategy. Nobody shares links anymore. It's boring. They share content now. So an example would be in Magic Muse, his music maker app. Users created AI diss tracks about their friends, and the hook was that got a lot of people to share was the user could send that diss track or song link to their friend. The friend opens a web view and there's no download to listen to it. And when the friend listens to the song, it has a big green button and it says reply with a diss track. This is how you get that viral loop, guys. This is how you get other people to download and eventually convert into paying users. So with a lot of my students, I do break down a viral loop in a Figma file that I have. I like to share with all my students. And this is the exact viral loop that the owner of NGL made. I think they eventually sold to TikTok, but you guys have to implement viral loops into your apps. That's how you get past the high customer acquisition costs after months of ads, or that's how you get past the slow seasons of organic content. So let's get into phase 4, which is the growth. This is the real sauce. And the lesson is you don't need a huge budget, guys. You just need to rage bait and trigger the algorithm. So you guys need to create TikTok or Reels that is slightly, I'll just be honest, very controversial or confusing. And you pretty much just want people to rewatch the video and bait people in the comment section, rage bait people. That's how these videos go up in the algorithm. With my AI music app that hit 10K per month, I rage baited people on TikTok. I said, hey, did your favorite artist use AI to make music? And then it would just be a question. And obviously the comment section will say, no, this was released before AI, but it would boost this content into the algorithm, which would allow other people to check out my app and eventually convert into a paying user if they get to the paywall. So guys, once you find a creative hook on organic social media, you then take that hook, bring it to Meta Ads and pump money behind it. And that's how you speed up that growth curve, because you're already using something that works. That's how you get your cost per install to about 30 to 55 cents. And that's exactly what this guy did here. Okay, so phase 5, this is the exit. This is selling the asset. The goal is to exit when it hits 10K to 20K MRR. And realistically, you need your last 3 months of revenue to show an uptick, as in growth. And by the way, the worst time to sell is when your graph is going down like that. The best time to sell is when you don't know if you should sell or not, but you've been thinking about it. So you want to sell when you're already in abundance, not out of scarcity because buyers will smell desperation. So quick numbers, expect to sell 2 to 4 times the EBITDA or annual profit. And guys, I've been through it myself. That does not mean you have 3 months of MRR and it's averaged out to, let's say, 5K MRR. So you multiply 5K times 12 and then that's your annual revenue. It does not work like that. You actually have to go through trailing 12 months of revenue and then multiply that. I had a sad and disappointing moment when I tried to sell my music app 4 months in, and my acquisition agent basically told me, bro, it doesn't work like that. So just take my word of advice, wait for that 12-month mark because they will take your TTM, which is trailing 12 months, and use the EBITDA from that. So anyways, a couple more tips. Do not take the highest offer off the bat, guys, because the highest offer usually comes with the most due diligence, the longest closing time, and sometimes the lowest liquidity. A lot of people like to bring the founder on board and pay them out over chunks rather than in all cash. So it's really just whatever you guys want, but a lot of people would rather take all cash up front but a lower offer than a high offer and only get a certain percentage of that cash in their bank. So some people like to say they have offers already being discussed, which is most likely the case, and it kind of creates scarcity and urgency. So what are some ideas you guys can steal right now for apps? I have 2 written right here. It's Korean Glass Skin Tracker. It's a niche version of LooksMax, specifically for the Korean beauty trend. And guys, people in the niche already spend high dollars on skincare, especially Koreans. So I know a lot of people build apps that's already working in the US and do it in different countries. So do that as you will. Another thing is the Chill Guy Relationship Manager. It's a CRM for boyfriends. You input data about your partner and the AI reminds you you haven't bought flowers for them in 3 months. Click here to ship them to the address, or you haven't been on a date with her in XYZ months, or you forgot her birthday. This is her birthday. So I've been seeing that kind of go viral on Twitter. So final advice, guys, is to only play games you have an advantage in. This guy keeps building Christian apps. Why? Because he has an advantage. He already has 1.2 million emails of Christian users. Now, personally, I wouldn't monetize the Bible or anything like that, but obviously this guy has an advantage in this vertical niche. You guys, there are plenty of vertical niches to take advantage of and monetize. So if you guys want any extra help, leave a comment or book a call in the description. I'll try to help you guys out, see where you're at on your journey. And that's it for today's video. I will literally see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.